often tried to find the perfect way to address this movie. It was the biggest movie and the most emotional movie experience in my childhood. An impression I want to live up to when creating this episode. Castle in the Sky is an anime movie of special sorts. Hayao Miyazaki, the director, is more than just well known. He is what we call a living legend. Animation film before and after is not the same. Castle in the Sky creates a power I was not able to resist when I was 5 years old, sitting in front of the television in the living room of the little apartment we lived in. The old, narring, green leather chair from my grandpa was not making one sound, so still was I sitting on it. Today I want to tell you a story about humanity's incapability of progress. Today I want to tell you a story about a castle in the sky. I'm Attila, and you're listening to Movie Prosecutionists. Let's go. The first scene I remember seeing was a robot awakening, destroying, more like humiliating the state-of-the-art military around him, partly broken, dragging his leg half severed by time or fall behind him. He was searching for the one to protect, a little girl, half magician, half wonder. What I saw was sadness and destruction, but then suddenly you saw a boy. He was riding a strange air cruiser, half scooter, half dragonfly, and what he wanted was to rescue the girl as well, the girl that was in the claws of the robot. Other than what I thought at first and what you may think right now, the robot meant no harm, and you saw this in the movie. In my head, back in the days, there was kind of a understanding and misunderstanding that shook hands. I started to understand the great power does not mean that you have an agenda. I understood that destruction can be beautiful and that progress can be forgotten. It was the first time I remember watching a movie, and it was the first time I remember searching again for a movie. I didn't know where to find it. I started to search on the internet, but I never found it. I didn't know the name, I didn't know what it was, and to be honest, I was 5 years old and I just got my first computer back in the days. So what I did was I found the movie a few years later again in television, and I remember that this time I was looking very keenly on the title so that I won't forget it. The Castle in the Sky is a very melancholic view back. It is a form of steampunk, like we see a nation, a great nation, fallen, a civilization that was far superior to ours, and was floating in the sky with a power far beyond what we can imagine. The beauty that this movie shows is in this kind of melancholic look back. You have moss overgrown surveillance towers, and water drowned what was once a city. Sporadically and isolated, there's a robot do the work to keep alive what has found a place to live in this castle in the sky. Hayao Miyazaki shows us what has been and what he deemed important. He shows us his skepticism. Technology and power are dangerous beauties, fascinating and wanted by us all. But Hayao Miyazaki shows us what really counts for people and what really should count for us. And he does that represented in the way the main character transitions. Patsu starts as a fascinated little pilot, eager to prove that his father's discovery of a castle in the sky wasn't all a lie. But he is meeting Sheeta, and what is starting as a form of escape and exploration of Sheeta's past will turn into a fight against power who wants to control these ancient, overwhelming technologies. And him being like supportive and tries to protect Sheeta is the main transition that he does in this movie. It's like he is discovering that this relationship to this girl is more important than like his need of verify what his father experienced and how his father was kind of accused of a lie that he want to clear up. And what we discover is that not everybody is as wisdomed, as sage, as Patsu. The power hungry in this movie dig up what has been covered by plants, by moss. What is questioned here is humans' sanity towards or regarding technology. Leave alone the question if power means progress, like technology means power, power means progress. Is this like a question we should ask ourselves? Or is it that is progress or, I don't know, power actually something we do want and we do need to advancing as a species? And what is that, advancing as a species? I don't know. I asked myself this question when I watched this movie. Not when I watched it the first time, but now that I think about it, I think it was already there. So, what is advancing as a species? Is that building higher? Is that flying faster? Is that computing more precisely? Technology does make it easy to calculate improvement, doesn't it? While social science never knows if what they did actually had the effect they predicted. I mean, it seems ridiculous to talk about the advancement of justice or humility. When do they make fundamental changes, as like enlighten a whole city by night or flying to the moon? But what actually brought us this knowledge how to fabricate these technological advancements? The comfort made us fat and old, made us having a lot of kids and overpopulating the world with our kind, like goats on the Galapagos Islands or rabbits in Australia. Technology made us overcome our natural enemies, like the cold, the dark, and of some sorts the age. Made us capable of overpopulating and destroying the environment until the point that nature cannot bear us anymore. I remember the quote from Matrix where Agent Smith was saying that the human is like a virus. It's the only animal that actually gets somewhere, overpopulates, destroys it, and goes somewhere else to destroy the next one. It's actually not that simple, and like species kind of battle against each other, and there's like hunters and prey, and they kind of keep a certain balance as long as there's a natural way how the species evolved in a certain area. And as I said, rabbits in Australia and goats in the Galapagos Islands are so overpopulating because they do not have an enemy, and human race has no enemy anymore, if we count out themselves as enemies of themselves. But I want to talk a little bit more about this progress, this technology that made us not have these natural enemies anymore. And what is this progress if not advancement in technologies? Or rather, what is the driving force against the distribution of our world? That's a question I want to ask. Like, why are we different from the rabbits? Like, why may we be able to actually not destroy our environment? And I think that is because we have moral. What we can do is decide not to. We can decide not to consume what is not healthy for our body. We can decide not to use resources that do not grow back fast enough. And we can do not exploit our fellow human beings. Or how Hayao Miyazaki probably would say, we could decide to not keep weapons that mean the destruction of ourselves as human species, ourselves as part of nature. What we should reutilize is not the machinery we built, but the moral we have had as a blunt child, like Patsu. Civilization should not be the amount of light bulbs we can light up, but with which compassion we can face our fellow humans. And Hayao Miyazaki's creation kind of makes children and pirates, the outlaws, the immature, becoming the pillars of wisdom, while the military and the institutions are too invested in what they have to do instead of questioning themselves what they should do. And yeah, that's like the brilliance and the beauty of this movie, to show us this kind of melancholic look back, this kind of questioning ourselves and questioning technology. And I think it's probably the most strongest and meaningful movie that Hayao Miyazaki ever did, if we wouldn't count Princess Mononoke. But that's a topic for another episode. So, here I stay, and here I will leave you with an urgent plea to give this piece of art the time that it deserves, and that you watch it. It was a pleasure to talk about it. I love this movie, and I hope I came across what I wanted to say. So please don't hesitate to subscribe if you liked the episode, and I hope you tune in next time. Until then, bye.